Hey, what's up guys? Today we have a adrenaline shocker, XLS. This is also my buddy Lance's. We're going to be doing a full rebuild on it. This gun has been used and abused, and that is putting it lightly. So this was originally Frank the Tank Connell's. I would say most memorably, he played on Dynasty. That's where most people are going to know him from. But if you look up Frank Connell, all of his info pops up. He is a very well-known guy, and this was his gun. This gun has a very unique back cap. If you've ever had an adrenaline shocker, this is normally a metal cap, and this is see-through. It's kind of hard to see, but the adrenaline logo is there. At first I thought it was missing. Today I'm trying out something different. If you've ever been on our eBay store, Curated Paintball, you'll recognize this backdrop. I figured out if I put the camera up here, I know that this whole square is in frame, so that's going to be kind of nice. And then instead of fishing for O-rings, I just put together little kits here, so that'll be nice. So this was a gun that I fell in love with probably about a year ago, maybe two. It is one that I made full sketches of. Smart Parts is really weird with O-rings. They don't tell you certain sizes, so sometimes you have to make your own. And I will be making a video for the actual mech kit because Smart Parts refuses to tell you all the O-ring sizes in here. There's a few metric, a few standard, but I don't know why they're such a-holes about it. So I did eventually find out, I don't know if they're 100% the correct O-rings, but they are the ones that work on here. So today we're probably not going to worry about the solenoid assembly. I might tear it apart just to show you guys. But typically, if you don't touch those, they're good. On shockers, if you do the bolt and you do the HPR, you should be good. Yeah, so let's get into it. This will be just the disassembly portion. I think I like doing it in portions so I can kind of re-get myself together here. So Adrenaline's shocker amps actually stole this from Adrenaline. You turn to the left and then you can pull it out. It's actually how you degas the marker. So after you degas the tank, it'll still hold about a shot in there. Turning this to the left will actually degas it. But yeah, they stole that on the amp. Very Smart Parts of them. As you can see, I don't even know how this marker was working for them. That is just like years of paint, and I don't see an ounce of lube on this bolt. It did live its life as a mechanical. Luckily I was able to hook up Lance with a not fully Adrenaline, it's missing the trigger, but it was an Adrenaline frame and ASA. But yeah, there's not an ounce of lube on this thing. So we will get the gun out of here for a moment. These bolts are pretty simple. So this just pops out. If this was a new O-ring, I would recommend take the O-ring off before you pull this through. There is a chance that you can actually slash the O-ring there. And then this little insert kind of pops out. You just get your fingernails under there. Pops out. And there is nothing in here. And you can get these pieces apart, but there is no reason to. They are Loctited from the factory. There is an O-ring under there, but it's red Loctited. There's just no reason to get in there. If you have to, you can. But yeah, no reason. And behind this back cap, if you take off these 3 set screws here, this back cap will pop off, and then there is actually a seal under there. It's almost like a QEV seal. But again, that's one of those pieces that you just don't touch unless you have to. Yeah, so this kind of your bolt layout here. These things are super simple and super reliable. I had 13 of these things at the same time, Adrenaline and normal. And of course I rebuild my stuff, but there was never a time that these things just didn't work. So yeah, so there's the bolt. We will put this to the side for now and get into the HPR which is a little bit less fun, but not bad. So here's our HPR. This is going to be a 3/8 Allen key. So you just stick it, oh, nope, I'm wrong. 5/16 Allen key. You will stick this in the bottom here, and this will unscrew. It should not be super tight in there, but sometimes people torque these down a little too hard. And that'll pop, and you'll see there's some spring tension there, and I will show you why. So bottom portion pulls out. This is where you're feeling that spring tension. So this is actually like a blow-off safety. I believe it's 200 PSI, it'll blow off. But if you ever have air shooting straight out the bottom, it's because this little safety here has blown. Luckily there's no proprietary seals in there, so it's actually kind of nice. For the rest of this, you'll need some pliers to reach in there. And that will pull out your piston, which actually does have some lube on it. That's nice. And there will be one more spring to pull out. There we go. So for regular maintenance on these shockers, if you're just following the rules, this is as far as you would ever, like for regular maintenance, take apart your regulator. You got your spring and your piston, and then another spring and your blow-off safety and your adjuster. But there actually is another piece of your reg far in there, and this is going to be, I believe, a 1/4 Allen key. I do kind of hate this design because you have to use the ball end, but that's fine. Typically it's not that far in there. But this is the last piece of your regulator, and that will pop out there. The reason they don't have you maintenance this is it's all static O-rings. So typically if there's something wrong, you're gonna know. I always checked on these, but it's one of those things, if you don't touch it, it probably won't have an issue. And Smart Parts was nice enough to have diagnostic holes here. So if this O-ring is blowing, that is either going to be your blow-off safety or your O-ring on the bottom of the adjuster. If your middle hole is blowing, that is going to be your reg piston. And if your top hole is blowing, it's going to be one of these three. So hopefully you notice that leak before you have an issue with this gun. Again, so here's your top piece. Reg piston goes in there with the spring, and then your adjuster. You are going to learn to hate this blow-off safety. It likes to come apart when you're reassembling, but there you go. And they have used this reg since the RSX. So the RSX, the LSX, the AMP, and the ERA all have this same regulator, which is kind of nice. You can pull parts from new ones, and if you know how to work on one, you can work on them all. So that's nice. So we will pop that in this little thing here. If you don't have clamshells when you're working on guns, I recommend them. It's kind of nice. You can just, don't have to worry about losing anything. We will dig a little bit deeper just for the video here. Like I said, it's probably not necessary, but why not? Your grip frame screws here are going to be 5/64. You're going to have 3 on each side. And again, I am going to pop these in a clamshell, because last thing you want to do when you're putting a gun back together is lose a screw. I luckily have like a huge surplus of screws because I take apart guns for a living, but not everybody does. So grips, these are standardized RSX, LSX, AMP, and ERA. They do look a little bit different, but they are all interchangeable with each other, which is I do very much appreciate from a tech standpoint. You know, Angels and Intimidators and stuff like that, they kind of change the grips every so often. So we're going to pop this 9-volt off. These ones are annoying with these little caps on there. Okay, 9-volt, it's a good battery. Okay, so these boards are kind of annoying because you pull the board out this way, the screen comes out this way, and then it's a tangle of wires up here to separate the frame. The amp, I believe, you can just pull apart the frame without messing with anything. This one you cannot. So we're going to take our 1/16 Allen key, second to smallest on your set, and you're going to have one screw on the bottom, one screw in the middle here. Maybe I'll zoom in for this part a little better, maybe. And that screw. Now this board should just pop out to the side. You want to be careful and pull it straight out because those pins there. And what this will do is give you easy access to all the wires there. Your solenoid and your eye wires. Just be gentle and you can keep this attached. But yeah, when you pull this out, you want to make sure that comes out this way, you know, straight apart, so you don't bend any of those. And we are going to go ahead and pop this in a clamshell to the side over here. Now you have your screen. You actually need to flip it to the other side, and these two screws hold in your screen. I will do it for demonstration purposes. Again, totally unnecessary. And these are pretty long screws, and you're screwing into plastic, so I recommend not touching these. There's actually no reason to. Okay, so those screws will come right out. Okay, and now you're going to be thinking, oh, I'll pull this screen out, you know, this way, that way. Nope, it actually, if you just push from the back with equal force on both sides, this will pop out. You shouldn't have a problem. And your screen, if you want to take it out, it'll slide to the side. I recommend not doing that. You could hurt the membrane there. So, all right, now you got your screen unattached, and now this this will let you take your frame off freely without worrying about anything. If you were going to do it without taking the board out, it's a little bit harder to get back together, and you have to worry about these wires, but we should be fine. So this will be a 1/8 Allen key. You'll have your back screw here. Pop out, and your front screw right under here. Okay, now you will be able to pull these apart. You just want to be cautious with these wires. They should come out nicely. There you go. So now you have a basically stripped frame. I'm going to put the gun to the side for a second. I'm actually going to be swapping the ASAs so that he has the gloss and red on here. Just so the only thing that's actually matte black is the frame itself. So they actually took this from the Lux. So if you've ever worked on, I think it's like the Lux Ice is the most similar. It's pretty close. So you will take your 1/16 Allen key here and unscrew this. This will pop out. Now what this will allow you to do is you'll pop this out and kind of wiggle it, and then there's your ASA pin. Okay, you can see there's that little pivot there. It's a little bit of a pain when you're trying to get back in. That gives you access to your two bottom screws, which I believe are 5/32. Yes, they are. And again, they're so far in there, you have to use the ball end, so just be cautious. They're a big enough Allen key that it shouldn't be a problem. There we go. And if you'll notice, if you just do one side, it'll bind up and you'll kind of see where the pressure point is. So it's kind of like a star pattern on a car. You just want to go back and forth. Okay. And there's a little channel here that'll slide out of and pop out in the middle. And that is your ASA disassembled. You have one O-ring in here, and we'll actually take out this midsection, show you how that is. I believe it's gonna be a 7/64. Oh, you can't get the flat end in there. I will unscrew. It's your little cap there, and then you have one O-ring in there, which I believe is a 006. But that's all there is to this ASA. So pretty simple. I will pop this back because we're going to be using the other one, and I will show you how to get this back in place. So you'll want to, here, I'll zoom in. So you want to put the pin in there, and you'll notice it goes in, but you have to use this little pivot to get the hole realigned. So I just kind of close it as close to natural, like flat, and that should allow you to get your pin in there. Yeah, not difficult at all. This whole gun's actually pretty easy to take apart. So there's that ASA there. Don't lose your screws. They are standard 1032 thread, but they're kind of a unique length. Let's see. So completely disassembled the frame. Now we will continue with the body here, which we have our solenoid assembly and our little transfer knob here. If you can see. Which again, you really don't have to touch any of these things if you don't have to. I'm just going to disassemble it for the video. So this is going to be your 1/8 Allen key in your little screw here. Oh man, what are these called? It's actually a sealing screw. It's almost like an Automag RT. Forget what they call that. But yeah, there actually is a seal on this. So screw there. That one screw will allow you to lift up and pull back, and that releases your solenoid assembly. You do have some metric O-rings in between these. If you take this apart, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get back together because you have to keep these pretty equal or it won't seal. Should we take it apart? Yeah, I'll do it for the video. And then you just have this little transfer piece here, which I believe is going to be your 1/16 Allen key. Just undo this screw. You'll see that screw has an O-ring. That is purely for tension. It doesn't actually seal anything. And that should allow you to pop this out. Oh, one more screw. You look right in there. That's right. You actually don't have to take that that screw out. All right, little screw. That'll allow you to pop this out. Okay, so we're actually going to put that one screw back in because no reason to take it out. And this little brass piece is an insert that this little metal pin holds in. But again, there's an O-ring in there, but no need to touch it. So there's that. And then this piece is your transfer from the frame to the body. It's Loctited in place. I wouldn't touch it unless you have to. This one has not been broken yet, so I'm not going to mess with it. Besides that, we have the eyes here. Which this gun lived as a mechanical, so I'm assuming we're pretty gross under here. Eye cover, eye screw. Your detents are encased in this eye cover, so really don't need to worry about those. And then your eye, you kind of just get a pick under there. You'll see it kind of pops into those channels like that. So there's no screw holding the eye in place, you just pop those out like that, and then they pull through the frame. So once you unpop them, I usually like to go one eye at a time just so you don't damage them. You just kind of fish them through the bottom here. Sometimes you can get an Allen key on the top, kind of push them through. There we go. So we got 1 and 2. Once one comes out, the second one comes out pretty easy. Pretty robust eye system. Just, you know, with eyes you always have to be careful. So yeah. And that's about it with this thing. So that is the full disassembly. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get all these parts cleaned just because they're filthy. And we will rebuild the bolt. We will rebuild the regulator, and then I will reassemble the solenoid assembly and kind of break it down a little bit.